Alright, this is a quick one while I am on break. I have a couple minutes. But I just want to remind you, all of y'all, that Spirit wants to tell you. Check out my Telegram. There's a lot of truth and shares and things that you need to be sharing as well. Keep calling your MPs. It is working, the pressure, okay? All the Summit Flotilla people have been released. Not up to the pressure, but a lot of you, Spirit, for a lot of you, if you have activated, if you have put sigils of protection for the Summit Flotillas, especially for my spiritual, beautiful warriors around here, it has worked. There is a curse. They have been cursed for multiple lifetimes. These are colonizer, oligarch, billionaires. They're all doing it, especially those who have make money out of, yes, that's compromise, solution to conflict, reconciliation, moving on past resentment. So this is something that they can't let go, or like this jealousy, envy, energy. So whatever it's been like exposed for a lot of you, and it's like harsh too, because you also have to deal with the denial of people, like not believing those things are happening and blah blah blah, and try to create illusions in their minds when a lot of us were showing facts and also in the spiritual energy. For a lot of you, when you don't meet the frequency of this energy, they're going to retaliate towards you. They're gonna feel some type of way. So learn how to protect yourself, learn how to cleanse yourself, how to, you know what I'm saying, and continue your prayers and your meditations and stay in the high frequency, especially if you're thinking about these activists or the Palestinian hostages, which is 9,500 hostages on these prisons, and also think about the children there and there. Think about also in the ICE detentions, these children, little girls coming out pregnant. What the hell? So a lot of us, we are thinking about the abusers and predators, right? And how we're going to bring justice and punishment. I hope that that's where we're at, because a lot of you is like, and no, a lot of you don't want to hear, oh no, we shouldn't induce violence. It's not inducing violence to hold people accountable for their crimes, okay? So this is something that, you know, the propaganda Israel energy is trying to, and they don't want you guys to know this. A lot of what I expose on my Telegram, go check out my IG broadcast, go sign up petition, guys. There's a lot of things to do in my link tree, okay? Please. I'm gonna continue this energy because it's ongoing. I had other cards came up also in my energy, but in other videos, if I attach it here, is probably Spirit has asked me to add it together, because whatever I expose in any of my YouTube, yeah, an up scroll on I'm on Substack, guys. Thank you so much for supporting, liking, comment, all that stuff, because I'm heavily censoring suppress here, especially when this energy is clarity. So I hope I bring you clarity. It says sound decision making breakthroughs, justice. We are manifesting justice, right? We are manifesting. So this is why when I'm not going to say everything here, but all I'm saying is that it worked. And these people are, we also has a reminder, this reading as well, where I'm reminding you that these people are conditioning program, not a conditioning program, it's more like they enjoy treating these people in an oppressive and degrading and dehumanizing way. They enjoy this. They enjoy stealing houses in the West Bank from Palestinians. They enjoy this. This is an enjoyment. This is their society. This is their custom. This is normalized. Now they're trying to normalize that everywhere globally in the world. Why don't you accept our racism? Why don't you accept our superiority? Why don't you accept our ways of how evil we treat Palestinians? Any race, really, right? And that too is like they're degrading the energy. And also a lot of you, they're expecting a lot of you that you're not educated. I'm speaking with specifically Canadians. Show them that you're not. You have to show them. Yes, you have to show people who are dumb as fuck, who take money from lobbyists of APAC or any other. You know there's an APAC here in Canada too. Do your research. Spirit said these are people are corrupt and evil as fuck, and these are the Canadian billionaires here. All right, listen, if you are right now educating people in any form of way, especially decolonization or teaching about to unlearn, to relearn, especially everything we're being taught, the programming, conditioning, all that stuff, because the system it has to shift. It's shifting, but it has to burn and, by the way, Spirit keeps saying money is not real, time is not real, and everything, the system, when it falls, it will only remain those of the international law and all a lot of laws are going to be changed. So everything else that happened in 2026, like Spirit is going to, there's going to be a new system, a new way where capitalism will no longer exist. So this is a warning for the colonizer, capitalists, and billionaire oligarchs. Your shit is going to fucking cost you, not just your livelihood of your lifestyle that you've been, you know, boosting and putting on cryptocurrency and all this shit that they're doing, the AI, everything, all of that is going to crumble, because not only is like the whole humanity, when they get together, like there's going to be a major, this is why they're trying to do all these laws and try to make it legal, their colonization and land theft, all that shit. And it's not, it's highly illegal. Everything that they're doing is illegal, especially also right now. Now I see why these landlords are going crazy here in Canada, because they're trying to get people to sign leases and lying to them, and it turns out that they're paying more in their, so I see but that's the thing, it's like all of that, trying to extort people, lie to people, stealing from people. A lot of you, the government owns you a lot of money, like and then this energy where lobbyists and politicians will no longer have that, like, you know, like lobbyists will pay politicians to, you know, interfere into elections or all of that's going to like be a hell no. There's going to be a lot of shifting and change. It's just that right now these and like, how do I say that, these people with this dark entity, this energy, this low vibration that want to keep you, a lot of you, like down and push you down, it's crumbling, like the control, the hold that they have over you. So that's why it's like, don't feel any type of way or hopeless or anything like that. Like, stay high vibration as much as you can. I know it's hard, especially for a lot of you who are dealing with emotional depression and exhaustion. I see it, okay? Because I feel like they're counting on a lot of you not being balanced, being in balance. They need you in balance. So work on it, okay? Remember, they work with your mind. They don't give a they work with fear and corruption, and that's what they need. They need you to be in fear. They need you to be constantly in PTSD, because that's how they siphon and take energy. So a lot of you, Spirit is saying that there's something that they're counting on that you guys don't balance. Okay? It says ambition, accomplishment, size, the moment, big changes, tendency, determination. So they're determined for a lot of you to continue making you guys feel some type of way. Anyways, they're exposing their own selves, right? And to repair their reputation is trying to go against those who are exposing them, or kind of thing. But at the end of the day, Spirit wants them to, because they're gonna be, it's gonna make a lot of you being in real connections and healthier connections, not just in terms of love, or I feel like in finances and work and career and stuff like that. A lot of you, they hate that you guys all get the best results, but they're not getting the best results, because they're being judged, by globally, and it's not just physically, it's spiritually. But this is, again, they're trying to delay their fate that they know that is coming. So, judgment, reflection, inner calling, being forgiving, awareness, awakening. But it's not like they don't want this energy. For a lot of you, keep calling these motherfuckers out, like these predators, and the whole thing that guy who was against, like, wanted the Epstein files and stuff like that to be, and then there's an issue with that. Like we were saying, sanction motherfucking Israel. Like, and the USA sanctioning the flotillas, that's like the most stupidest move ever. They don't know what to do. It says imbalance is organization and ability to commit to anything overextended chaos. So that's what they're trying to create to you guys, but it's coming back to them 10 times fold. I'm gonna continue this energy after. I love you. All right. Hi everyone. I hope you're doing well. Sorry it's been a while. My break during work time. It's been a couple of days, so surviving and stuff, just like everybody else, but expecting other people to live an equal way, just as you, it's a really intense privilege, okay? But I'm here to uplift and support those who need some
uplifting right now. Not that you need to, it's just sometimes it's nice to be validated for what you're feeling, especially the emotions are heightened and right now everything feels like really intense, okay? If you need any clarity or confirmation on what's really going on in the world that they don't want you to know, you can check out my Telegram, my IG broadcasts, my up scrolls, everything I post here on YouTube channel too in the community. Thank you so much, guys, for your support, your likes, especially those who donate to continue having me here so that I can continue and not only support myself and my kids as I am a single mom, but also surviving this system that everything is rising, and it is the decay of capitalism. So we're dealing with fascism, techno-fascism, right? And not acknowledging that and not being aware of that is what gets us in a lot of situations where the oppressed and parasite want you at. And I'm here to break all those shackles and all that through education, through information, through awareness, and through energy reading, which I'm really good at. So those who want a personal reading, the only way you can reach me is through my email, okay? You can send me messages through either TikTok or IG broadcast or my IG, or just send me an email. It's more safer, and I will never reach you, okay? So don't let people scam you or anything like that. There's a lot of scammers, guys, and it's not just me, it's other people as well that are dealing with the situation. And unfortunately, those are people who are already like the bots. I call them bots, and they're leeches, parasite, cockroaches, right? So they're trying to also undermine and try to disrupt what other people are trying to work on, especially if you're someone who are here to help people, earth warrior, resistance, light workers who are asleep. We're here to get them going and get them to action. There in my link tree, there's a lot of actions to do there. There's calling your MPs ways, there's donations. If you can donate, you can share or send it to all friends and family to help those people who are still trying to survive genocide, okay? Yeah. Now I'm going to show you a couple videos. One of those is from beautiful Bisan, a journalist, a Palestinian journalist who's still documenting the Gaza, what's going on in Gaza, and then I have
I love my work because it enables me to see Gaza from another point of view. I'm not living Gaza alone, I'm living Gaza and trying to enable people around the world who watch me and watch my videos to live Gaza with me. The pieces you watch are not like presenting a content. It's a collective effort. It's a collective memory. It's all the Gazans giving you their memories, their stories, their hearts, so you can understand more how the genocide ruined our lives. Unfortunately, changed our lives forever. So 60% of Gaza Strip is occupied. There are bombings. 2 journalists were killed in the past couple of days, and we don't have enough equipment. I'm using a broken camera, and now I'm gonna be using a broken mobile because I broke it today. And there's nothing entering Gaza. You need to know that anything that helps people in Gaza to rebuild their life, to reach you, to strengthen the internet, to document, to anything, any electronics, nothing is allowed to enter Gaza. So this is another struggle. At the end of the day, despite everything, you can find only one place that is welcoming for everyone. A place that is a displacement camp for the people who are living in tents by the shore. A place that can be somehow a safe place for people who want to come to find some calmness, some sound that is higher than the drones and the bombing sounds. It's Gaza Sea. When I want to have a little bit of fun time, let me say, I just come to hang out here with the friends. Doesn't require anything, and it's not destroyed. The Israelis cannot destroy the sea. And remember always, always, that despite all the scenes of the genocide, despite the ongoing bombings and the mass killing and the massacres, we're still trying to find some moments of joy and peace. This is Gaza, and this is the most welcoming place in Gaza.
Other ones in my repost post on TikTok of other journalists independent who are in the West Bank, who also I show you their videos through my Telegram. If you go my Telegram, you click on the pin, there's most of the evidence and sources that you need. The spirit or divine Gaia, Mother Gaia, or divine Allah, creator, universe, ask you to pay attention to those. Make sure that you share it. Make sure that if you have time to talk about it in your platforms, educate your communities, okay? Educate your platforms. They're heavily investing intensely on trying to delay and undermine what is already coming, which is justice. Right? There's the death energy and there's the hangman energy. So when these two energies come up in any of the energy reading, it talks about redistribution. It talks about revolt, right? It talks about things that have been done in the dark is no longer gonna be happening. I saw that before. It says our thoughts are powerful, and then positive mindset. Again, I don't want to bring that toxic spirituality bullshit. I dismantle and rebuke that. Especially the spiritual community of tarot that has been conditioned and programmed to bypass spiritual bypass and make you think that whatever is going on in the world, whatever the oppressed and the oligarchs who are benefiting from this, they know also that they are capitalists, right? Because when you're not taking your platforms or your or anything that you're doing right now and trying to demand and condemn and sanction Israel and condemn what USA imperialists is doing, especially what they have done for 3 years and genocide in Palestine, what is doing in Congo, which is also they're involved, USA is involved, and Israel and all the other governments are complicit. You pay taxes that causes those problems. You're already aware of that, and if you didn't know, now you do. Okay, so acting and thinking that those things that are happening in the world is not affecting you, that it's not, it's too negative to focus on, it's better to ignore and not feed into that. You are feeding into it by ignoring it. You are doing the opposite of what you're telling your people that they should not be doing. You are doing it. And then you're causing this bypassing effect, which only benefits the oligarchs, capitalists, just like you, right? Who take advantage of people, their vulnerability, their fears, their struggles that they're dealing, right? A lot of you're not regarding or acknowledging and being aware of. So some of you call yourself healers, high priestess, whatever the fuck. I don't know. A lot of you focus so much on, yes, the internal healing, which is good, but also the internal healing comes with the shadow work and the decolonization, which is the one that you're trying to bypass, the one you're trying to annul, because it doesn't bring you money, right? Because it doesn't make you profit. Because once you are outside of the status quo and really doing the work, you don't get any benefits. You get a lot of backlash, you get a lot of gaslighting, you get a lot of attacks, right? You get a lot of, you're open to spiritual warfare, all kinds of warfare, right? But if you're a real G, that shouldn't be a fear or doubt for you to continue doing the right thing for humanity, for the oppressed, because that's what you're here for. So that you forget that in the journey. So I'm here to remind you, doing the thing that you're doing, but doing it extra, right? Because a lot of you, oh, this is extra. This is someone who a lot of you get pissed off of people like me and there's other tarot readers. They got the message right away. Like, wait a second, what? I don't want to be part of the beast that oppresses and is okay with using my taxes to bomb children in Gaza, to rape people and women and children in Sudan, babies. Yeah. That doesn't bring you any, that doesn't make you, then you lost your humanity. That's why I'm here to remind you, all of you. This is why a lot of us who are speaking the truth, who are connected to the independent journalists and doing the work that a lot of you don't want to be doing. Also, I have writing works. I have my writerscf.com, I have a website, I have sources and evidence. So the manipulation and controlling and the propaganda gets debunked here. So a lot of you, it makes you uncomfortable that is whatever the fuck, that if someone like me or any other person that is doing this, that there must be something wrong with us because we can see what you cannot see. But we're literally showing you what you can see, that you should see, but you're not doing anything because It's gonna affect my finance. It's gonna affect my views. Oh man, I'm gonna lose a lot of subscribers. I'm gonna lose money. Yeah, bitch, we know. We all are, those who are doing this work. It's not, that's why you, and a lot of you are noticing that those who are pro-humanity, pro-Palestine, and anti-Zionist, and against the status quo, you get it. You see, you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm courageous enough, you think, or I don't know if my gifts and talents are, you know, I don't. And I get it, a lot of you have a lot to lose. For some of you are single parents and trying to make it in this tube, right? And you haven't said anything whatsoever in the past 3 years. Use your platform any type of way, a little post, a little social media there, something. Share one of the families in Gaza. No, nothing. You have completely, you think that all those things are beneath you, right? You think, a lot of you in the spiritual community, you think that you're superior to those who are being oppressed, bombed, and killed nonstop. So you can have your comfort, so that you can maintain that comfortability and privilege that you have right now, right? A lot of us cannot live like that. My conscience, I have a conscience. I don't give a fuck that you obviously don't. And then all of you who come to my platforms and attack it or do some type of weird shit, I see you. I see you. Divine sees you too. All of you, all these people, like they're literally, I'm literally in the point showing you guys and reading the energy at this point of a lot of you is just confirming what you already know, what your intuition already knows. These people who we're dealing right now, okay? Because a lot of you, you're pretending that you're gonna be okay if you don't talk about this, if you're silent, right? It's not, I'm telling you, it's not gonna help you. So a lot of us are encouraging you to be inspired, do your own way of how you can resist. You have to resist fascism. A lot of you, it shows that you're not reading history and then you're not educated. And then you complain and gaslight and project towards us who are asking you the minimal, it's minimal stuff. Boycott, study, educate yourself, educate your children, protect yourself, okay? Protect others, join communities, join food banks, join, make sure that you're growing food on your own if you can. You don't understand, a lot of you haven't read history. It shows, because this is the same pattern that happened a long time ago. Not long ago, really, because what, 60, 70 years? Most of those people are really old and right from that past, but they're still here, they're still in power, some of them, and their children, descendancy, doing havoc in our lives, right? And then also us making you aware that supporting those companies or places or Zionists who are okay with genocide and want you to get into their program of influencing and lying to other people so that you can make money, so that they can save their reputation or the damage that has already been done. Because for them, they never expected that a lot of you wouldn't be okay with them being happy of torturing Palestinians or killing them or bombing them and stuff like that. They never thought, they thought that this 3 years of 4K, which obviously they needs to be held accountable, and they will. This is another thing that they keep saying, like, violence is not the answer. They are counting all of you on that. I don't know about y'all, and I feel like I have to repeat myself. If you look at my Telegram, the violence that you're seeing is our enemy being violent towards those who are oppressed, the Palestinians, right? And you think that that's not going to affect you. My friend, whoever you are, you're already in it. What you're watching, what I'm showing you, the truth and facts, is what your future will be if you allow it. They are literally playing and stealing in your own faces. The media is bought by them because they need you to believe their narrative. They need you to believe that they're the heroes, that they're not doing anything wrong. Meanwhile, in the background, they're distorting and trying to create distortion to the truth, lying constantly, creating different chaos and attack everywhere, Lebanon, in the whole thing with Iran, and then trying to create consent to try to literally attack Cubans because they refuse to be in their USA imperialist, how dare you, right? All those things are happening at once, and a lot of you are like, oh my God, there's too much negativity, there's too much, I can't deal with that. So you are expecting that all of that is going to be fixed, that negativity that you're trying to ignore, that you're telling other communities, your communities, to bypass and to ignore. Do you know that that's violence too? Did you know that? Did you know that that's dangerous? So that's why I see why a lot of people are not trusting tarot readers right now. And you're right to feel this intuitive nudge. They're telling you not all tarot readers here on the tube or the TikTok are real. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it's great that they're tapping into their energy. I'm so happy. But do it in a way that is authentic. Do it in a way that it not only benefits you and your own ego or spiritual ego or your own, do it in a way that it benefits other people, that it actually does bring clarity to other people. A lot of you're focusing so much on relationship, on the whole patriarchal cis mentality, that's what you think the twin flames are, whatever the fuck. And twin flames are resistance fighters. I'm gonna keep saying it because this is why. And they're not like liked or anything like that, because these entities, beautiful divine energy resistant fighters, these are the twin energies because they combine their gifts as one, and they are very powerful as one. So at this point, only twin flames that I could say that as an example is the people who are supporting Palestine. That's about it. The couples who are doing that, who are doing the most and literally go join the Summit flotillas and go to the enemy to see what's going on in the prisons, and experience themselves what Palestinian hostages have been experiencing for 78 years for some of them. Others of you, there's children in these prisons. This is the only country, fake ass country, that allows children to be in prisons. Torture, rape, all kinds of stuff. And a lot of you, what you saw with Ben Gavir, whatever the fuck that demon, don't let it happen. If that pisses you off, continue. Use that energy and start calling your MPs on Monday. I'm filming this on Sunday. Call your MPs, call your government. You can do that too while you're doing your tarot reading. I'm speaking for the spiritual community. Sorry, I'm very niche right now, but I feel like Spirit's trying to use me to say something to them, because you need to understand you are helping feeding the capitalist, parasite, pedophiles, motherfuckers to continue doing what they're doing to innocent people. I'm not blaming you. There's no blame. But you do know that intuitively, you know that a lot of fucking shit are gonna start happening to you, or it's already happening, because you have been disobedient. Spirit has asked you to use your gift, your intuitive talents as well, and help the oppressed. He has asked you to post a video or post a picture or a donation link for those people in Gaza. You know, and you've seen it. A lot of you, you're just ignoring that call, but you're going to the call, the ego one, where, oh yeah, talking about this and blah blah blah. I'm creating multiple videos to tamper, and that's it. The algorithm and YouTube is like, yeah, here goes the people who are complicit like us. Yes. So they will boost your video, and you know that too. You know it. You know that whether the algorithm will benefit you because you are conforming and complicit to the same thing that Google and all their accounts and YouTube and all the other, except Upscroll. Not Upscroll. It's a completely independent app. I would suggest to get that if a lot of you are tired of Instagram, tired of TikTok, go to Upscroll. For real. There's Blue Sky as well, but I would definitely suggest Upscroll. When everything goes down, I'll be in Upscroll and Substack. Okay, thank you so much for supporting me there. If you want to support, just like and share or become a subscriber. Yes, so I can continue coming here and doing this, because yeah, a lot of us, we go through so much shit. That's what I know a lot of you're not doing the work. I know it. I'm not judging, I'm not just a messenger, but it's a wake-up call, because a lot of you're trying to create this positive mindset, but not everything is positive. It's toxic to do this, because right now we're not treated equally. So how is that positive? We're dealing with violence of any possible way, financially, rent, through education, being censored and suppressed, and trying to people not to read or something like that, read certain books about anti-racism shit, like being conscious. Literally, the fight is us trying to maintain consciousness while the fucking oligarchic bros are trying to be like, no, shut the fuck up, stay unconscious. And you are helping them. Angels are here. Whew, you're helping them. A lot of you, that's why I'm here, and I know this because I was doing the exact same thing. I was there, and then once I realized, I was like, wait, what the fuck? I don't want to be part of this shit. I want to continue doing the healing work. I want to continue doing this, but I don't want to be part of, like, no way. And as soon as I did that, the YouTube removed my monetization. like completely. Even though like I was almost close to the, because you know you have to reach a threshold of $100 before you start making money in YouTube, and I was almost there. And as soon as I was like, okay. And I know for a lot of you don't understand, because a lot of you, you're privileged, or you got a lot of you like, oh no, but I work for myself. No, you work for it in a way that it benefits you and your ego, but not your community, really, in a fake pretended way. And yeah, a lot of you there's people who pay and this stuff to, and it's not your fault, it's their decision. They have, of course, a free will, but I feel like the tactics of way of manipulating energy, because you can not manipulate, but it's mostly like you can read into the point where you could guide people to, you know, be like that energy of like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to, yeah. So I'm also dealing with this, that there's a lot of psychic attacks. This is why I haven't been here in a while, guys. There's financial psychic attacks. There's like a lot of stuff, like, yeah, financially, to get me to slow down, to get me to stop, you know, exposing the stuff for you guys. So, but it's not going to stop me, right? And that's what I'm trying to get as well. Like, if you know intuitively, you know there's someone like a tarot reader or someone who reads energy or whatever, or consultant or anything like that, and if it's not helping you in any possible way to elevate not only yourself but elevate another community or enhance your gifts and talents, that is not for you. Okay, just be aware there's a lot of them here, and then they're not decolonized and they're just pretending, right? Some of them are paid by Zionists, and that's a really rotten energy. Some of them are paid because some of them Zionists or some type of way. A lot of you are connected to some cult, or a cult is against you, especially if you're someone who is like a walking karma. Okay, all this abuse, this is very specific. Merlin energy. Okay, 24 could be significant, something about the 24 by the time I'm filming this.
I mean, I was on the last mission, and there was like an escalation in violence there, where there was sexual assault and there was like physical violence, but this time it was much more. I was on one of the prison boats where 180 people were systematically bashed and beaten. We had 40 people who have broken ribs. We have 12 sexual assaults. We have people who were tasered in the face. People were syringed with unknown sedatives. We were tortured. I was put down, cable tied. They put so much water under me for an hour that I thought I was going to drown. I was sexually assaulted in this kind of torture chamber, and 5 men were bashing me and smashing my face. And then it just continued for the whole time, whether that was the prison boat or whether that was where we were taken to Ashdod. It was a relentless and very targeted and very planned campaign of violence so that we wouldn't come back. But, you know, they've broken our bones, but they haven't broken our soul. And now that I've met them, I know that they don't have a soul. So we are much stronger than they are, than Free Palestine.
Yeah, exactly. It's the 24. And there were some things Spirit wanted you to know that was done on Wednesday. So before this, or it's going to happen on Wednesday, it's something about neglect, or feeling neglected, or feeling abandoned. There is an intentional, it's intentionally built that way. A lot of you, as could be light workers or earth warriors, you're alchemists, you manifestations and magician energy. Not necessarily this, but Merlin was the psychic, right, of Arthur, and he will like tell him if we win the wars or something like that. So that energy is coming up, and a lot of you use Merlin energy, or the spirit energy. It's trying to tell you that there is the Death Reaper, and there's the Death Reaper is gonna claim hang. There's a lot of hanging going on. Especially in the past, that lynching energy. So there's a lot of white supremacists that are petrified of being lynched, like they lynch black people. Yeah, slavery time. Yeah, Spirit said don't forget about any of those. Jim Crow, don't forget about the lynching laws, don't forget about none of that stuff. You're not meant to do that. That's the European white supremacy colonizers, that they don't want to people to talk about or say, oh, you always talk about race. That nervous tick that they get is because, like I said, racism is a demonic energy and it's being dealt with in the spirit. So yeah, so it says he or she who plays in the dirt always comes back dirt. So ancestors bring karma. So a lot of you need to trust your ancestors. Some of you have Merlin ancestors, like your DNA, your code, and they don't like that. So a lot of you Merlin. So it could be Isis energy, Mary Magdalene energy, Christ consciousness energy. For some of you, you believe that Christ consciousness it was Mary Magdalene, that Christ Jesus sacrificed himself to preserve Mary Magdalene, the Sophia energy. And for a lot of you, Spirit says, keep that positive mindset. You're almost there, okay? Healing work, forgive yourself, something has to change. Okay, so a lot of you know already that it says working through difficulties with patience. Oh my goodness, and I know how hard this is, okay? I know and you know, okay? So I'm just validating what you already know, okay? A lot of you could be feeling a lot of intense, and here is someone attacking your crown chakra, okay? Some of you, because you're working with this patient, you're working truthfully, not corrupt, not doing anything these people are doing. Another thing, I just want to make it clear. There is a tower moment constantly. It keeps popping up in this energy. And I know that these motherfucker parasites, they don't want to hear it, but this is why they're like popping pills or wanting you to pop pills. So be aware of this, of numbing yourself. When there's ways to numb yourself that you can turn it into a ritual way that is alchemizing, that is transmuted, that is manifestation for the oppressed, so that you can actually, if you get everything that you fulfill within yourself and know what you need, you can manifest for other people, the oppressed. So Merlin is asking you guys, because all of his work was in the mind and in spirit, and he had gifts. Lots of gifts. A lot of you, Spirit is asking you to tap into your gifts and talents. Whatever you imagine. A lot of you is like that energy, like, oh, whatever you think, that's what you will manifest and blah, blah, blah. And yes and no. That woo-woo energy, it's nice to see it in a way when you're in alignment and you bills are paid, right? And you don't have any financial situations, you're not worried, you're not depressed, you're not hungry, you're not, that manifestation, it's really nice. And I see people that even when they're struggling, they're manifesting for other people. And this is why when their rewards come in, it gets 10 times fold, like really, really intense. And this is why they nurture that energy and they're able to give. So this is why a lot of you, you're learning not to be like billionaires and oligarchs, like your landlords. You're learning to be a human being that understands other people. You're learning to be empathetic in a world that has programming conditioned for people to be sadists and apathetic, right? That you're not using this to cope, but they are intensely. Okay, the tower moment, intensely. Okay, colonizer time, see? Yeah, so outer turmoil, it says battle, arguments, unnecessary conflicts, feels their world is falling apart. Literally. It says physical world filled with chaos, confusion, and destruction. So this can be also someone who could be avoiding to do that, to numb themselves, even though they're going through the tribulation and stuff, because I feel like this is someone who wants to be like, okay, this is happening for me, not to me. But also that too is like, this is someone who been through some stuff and they're like, fuck, I don't want anybody to go through that again. Like most of the people that are advocating for Palestine and all of that, most of us, we have been through all the shit that fascism can actually entail. We have survived homelessness, we have survived police brutality, we have survived judgment and defamation of character, we have survived multiple betrayals, right? We have survived ways spiritually, for some of you who are very, very witchy spiritual in a good way, okay? You have survived this energy of trying to constantly death magic, right? Death rituals, the stuff that it was done to keep you standing or keep you, not seeing the different perspective, or keeping the masses not seeing a different perspective. Meanwhile, like, it's the death energy is here. So it says, at the end of the universe. So ending and rebirth influences health and longevity. So a lot of you, you are the energy, the catalyst that will end that cycle of constantly bringing unhealthy situations and you know, this energy. So that's why a lot of you can be misunderstood. For some of you, like your work or things that you're doing, especially if you're could be in the justice system or something like that, or a lawyer or someone who, you know, for some of you, this is what you need to be doing, okay? Now, it says transforming something ordinary into beauty. Tools to create and manifest different perspectives. So a lot of you literally confirming that it's in 2 decks and different decks. So a lot of you take what resonates and leave what doesn't, okay? But this is for some of you. Other of you, there's no fulfillment. Whatever they've decided to do in the dirt, that now ancestors and Merlin energy is getting karma for these people. For a lot of you, you just ask just for a moment of joy, just take it. Just take it. Okay? And Spirit said to trust. Okay? There is abundance that was blocked. It was in reverse, but it's, do you understand? It's being blocked. They're blocking it. They're trying to block it because it's your money that they're taking. They're taking your energy. I'm telling you, there's a lot of corruption in a system like this. So when the energy comes up, you need to be aware of it, so you know where exactly this energy is attacking you. It's affecting your finances. It's affecting something that is supposed to be sanitary or something, or clean. A lot of you shower, so when you shower, like, pray over your body, your clothes, your hair. Like, yeah, it's intense. A lot of you have, could be multiple magicians using the reverse Merlin energy, you know. So be aware of that. There's a lot of those, and they get paid big bucks. And you know who are the only people who can afford it? The same people who can afford to shares and bombs and stuff like that, and make money out of bombing people in Palestine, Lebanon, and Iran, and Yemen. They use their reverse, dark, intense energy to attack the working class. It comes up all the time, nonstop. And again, this is why I'm an alchemist, because that's why in terms of facts and clarity, I need to have the right information. So that's why I only use independent and don't use, and if I do use media, it's just to show you the comparison and how, you know, this energy needs to have this propaganda and news media to keep the masses like controlled and continue taking from them. But that's the justice energy is here. So they're just trying to, again, delay and avoid it. And a lot of you are helping these motherfuckers do this. So your karma too is coming. So a lot of you are trying to avoid, you don't know what you're not fulfilled and stuff like that. Also, there's a lot of judgment for people who are doing. It says emotionally detached due to fear or unwanted behavior, feeling numb and suppressing feelings through either drugs, alcohol, or some other addictive behavior. A lot of you, you're not doing that, but people could be saying or trying to perceive you like that. It's it's like, no, that's just gonna bring more tower moments, and it's gonna make them more unfulfilled, especially because they're doing this because you bring light, okay? Right? And a lot of you bring light to people who are heartbroken and betrayed, and all this of you unjustly put in prison that they shouldn't be, right? Also, the attacks is intense for a lot of you. They want some of you to be put in prison or keep the secrets of what they're doing to imprison people, their minds and stuff like that. They need you guys all in this energy. This is why a lot of us will bring the light. Some of you are high priestess, you know the secrets, you know the stuff. It's not a secret, it's exposed. It's been being exposed for years now. Someone's out of control and doing anything to any and everyone they want without having remorse. They don't have remorse. It keeps popping up because it's the truth. You guys already know this. Israel society, they have no remorse. And a lot of you are delusional thinking that the two-state solution and all that bullshit, you are highly mistaken. These people are doing this constantly. Demonic deals and these energies like constantly rebuking, constantly dissipating, constantly, because a lot of you, you're aware, and the more you're aware, the better it is. Look, their intuition, they're trying to block it. Why do they try to block your intuition? Because it benefits you and your communities, not them. Because they're doing stuff in the background they don't want people to know. It's not that hard. Feeling shame and self-hatred for what I've done. I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me one day. So see, now when the people are looking at the right information, now they can make better decisions. Now they know that they were making a mistake. Now they know that they shouldn't have done certain things to you. A lot of you to silence you, or to go with a certain group or cult, or try and believe in what they were saying, and they regret it. Some people do regret it because you didn't do anything to them. And that's it. Your ancestors, your archangels are letting this person, whoever this is, pay back. By the way, revolution energy. Again, that tower energy. So I'm gonna read you what it says. Okay, those things are no longer working. You have tried and tried, but it's time to start all over. Let things burn to rise anew like a phoenix from the ashes. So let the capitalist energy empire USA burn. Just let it burn. And I know that's why it's like, yo, the Roman Empire, was it this annoying? Yes, it was probably worse. So be lucky that you weren't in those times, but still, we have a lot of advantage right now, especially with our advocacy, with our ways of speaking, putting things into existence, exposing the evidence, having ways and tools of how to put it all together and make it into a file or legal stuff that we need. We learn what we have to do. It's time. Our goddess stands above burning flames holding a banner of society ablaze. She channels lightning to call attention to her actions. This says enough is enough and asks us to dismantle the system that aren't working. I can't make this up. This might be a personal revolution, evolution. So you see revolution, evolution, like right together, not separate, together. Revolution and evolution together. Or something on a great scale, something you are feeling called to do. Shed yourself, like shed the old self, the one that believed that all of this is normal, that the status quo, that whatever the fuck, shed that. That's what decolonization is doing. That's why the shadow work needs to implement it in your spiritual practices and anywhere that you're doing, because you are a spiritual being having a human experience. So lack of education is violence too. Teaching you guys and programming you to believe in a system like this that is oppressive and unequal and is harmful for women and children, that's not the right education that you need. Lying, making you, a lot of you also liars and sadistic, even though a lot of you unconsciously, you're like, I was doing that unconsciously because I wasn't aware. I didn't have the right education. I didn't have the right tools. I didn't have the right guide. And now that you do better. Nobody's judging you, because a lot of you think of it, that holding you accountable is like an attack on you. No, people who know that they're wrong, that they, once they have their facts and they have it, like, wait a second. Yeah, they hold themselves accountable and change patterns and change behavior. I've seen that. We have seen people from big fucking fucked up Zionists to anti-Zionists in a very quick. Narcissists, they know that there's a mental situation going on, mental illness or something like that, very dark, right? So it's not just therapy. It will help them to have a system that is equal too, right? But some of them, they don't want to. They want to continue controlling and manipulating people because it's the sadistic energy. It makes them feel good. Yes, we are dealing with people who also enjoy seeing people suffer, seeing people oppress, seeing people go in struggle. It gives them some type of boost. And you, a lot of you, you're part of the second awakening, or how many awakenings we have already. It's acknowledging that. It's being aware that there is people that you're going to be around, that's not your values and morals and integrity. And for some of you, you might be like, you might tolerate it for like a couple seconds, maybe. But a lot of you know when someone acts in a certain way that doesn't go with your values and morals, you cut it off right away. So don't feel some type of way. They're gonna make you feel some type of way for creating boundaries with them. But they need to work on with their demons. They need to heal that energy, and then you can deal with them, okay? All those of you, go be with people who are in the same energy as you, people who have your values and integrity. And yeah, sometimes you will have the people who are different, who have different perspective, but they're not toxic and they're not like abusive, or they're not like trying to incite some type of like, you know, like ideology into your mind so that you believe, so that you think that they're better than everybody else, which is really weird. Anyways, what was I saying? To yourself, believe that by starting fresh, new things will grow. So communism, socialism, matriarchy, building communities, reducing no more fossil fuels, and like seeing beyond what these motherfuckers are trying to build for us for the future. And it's not just us, it's our kids. It's our kids now, it's the future of our kids right now. Because a lot of you, we need to think about the future. The future is right now, and this is what you want them to be living and surviving. That's on you. I don't. I'm going to do everything I possibly can with the literally limited resources that I have, and I'm going to continue screaming to the top of my lungs that we need to fucking change the system. It's not sustainable. As an environmental scientist, I am telling you, it's not sustainable to live in capitalism. It doesn't not benefit no working class, nobody. Only the 1% who are telling you, who are feeling victimized, who are feeling like attacked because we're telling them that having all that money and not sharing and not being taxed, they think it's an attack, even though even if they do like a 5% of their fucking taxes to give it to the people, that it can maybe end, not even maybe, end poverty and homelessness in any part of the world, just 5% of the wealth, they'll still be millionaires. So do you see why we're doing revolution, evolution? Because we have to evolve from that parasitic energy. It's parasitic. You cannot idolize the energy, the parasite that is abusing you, that is taking from you, stealing from you, without your consent, and some of them with your consent, because you give it by staying silent and pretending and ignorant that it's not happening. It is happening. Just because it's not happening to you, it's happening to other people, which means that eventually it's gonna get to you if you allow it. And ignorance and silence, it only benefits colonizers, stealers, psycho murderers, who are trying to take over our politics and everything, pretty much the world. No, it's too radical for you to talk about those things. It's too, then you're part of the problem then, just what it is.
I'm happy to report that all of the Freedom Flotilla activists have now been released, but I'm less happy to talk about the communication sleight of hand that was happening yesterday with Anita Anand and Mark Carney. Anand and Carney are hoping that you forget that the sanctions on Ben-Gvir were actually put into place last year in June. And let's check in on how that's going. Well, it didn't stop him from passing his apartheid death penalty law, which exclusively targets Palestinian hostages who are currently being held in Israeli detention with no trial. And it sure as hell didn't stop him from filming and posting videos of him torturing international activists. I want to remind everybody that those videos that we saw were not leaked videos. They posted those themselves, because sanctioning individuals doesn't do shit when it's the entirety of the state that is responsible for committing the genocide. Itamar Ben-Gvir is not some fringe actor within Israeli politics. He is a high-ranking member of the Netanyahu government. He is simply a piece of the larger apartheid structure. This kind of stuff frustrates me because this is an attempt to distract from the larger issue, which is the fact that the entire state of Israel is responsible for a genocide. And our governments have done nothing. And worse, they've enabled it. So while I am very glad that the overwhelming public pressure led to these activists being released, we need to keep up the pressure to have the demands actually met.
When corporations commit crimes, they're almost never held accountable, which is why we should all be excited about recent news coming out of France, where the CEO of a $50 billion multinational corporation just went to prison for his company's involvement in war crimes. Bruno Lafont, the CEO of Lafarge, the world's largest cement manufacturer, is going to prison for 6 years. His crime was that the corporation he was leading paid millions of dollars to terrorist organizations like ISIS to keep their Syrian cement plant operational. And those funds helped ISIS maintain their power, carrying out mass executions, the genocide of the Yazidi people, and even an attack in France that killed over 100 people. So why'd they keep paying ISIS? Well, their Syrian cement plant was profitable. So this was just good business. Why close a profitable operation just because of a little terrorism? Well, now their CEO is going to prison. And this is a big deal for all of us because it represents a seismic shift in how corporations can be held accountable. Because corporations harm people in pursuit of profit all the time, polluting air and water, flooding communities with drugs, profiting from war. But in most of those cases historically, they just use the same defense, and it works. They say they were just maximizing profit and they didn't know about the atrocities being committed. And if they were found guilty, which was rare, they would just have to pay a fine, which they would happily pay because to them that was just the cost of doing business. But a CEO going to prison? That's different. And this French verdict could set a new precedent for corporate accountability worldwide. After all, if CEOs and board members think they personally could be held accountable for the crimes their companies commit, they're going to start making decisions differently. And that's what needs to happen if we're going to build a better future. Because right now, our economic and legal systems are designed to protect profit over everything, even human rights and the livability of the planet. So to move towards a world where well-being is actually prioritized, we need new legal precedents. And this verdict is a step in that direction. If you want to learn more about this case, drop a judge emoji, and I'll send you our latest Better Future Media article, which is a deep dive into the case and what it means. And be sure to follow us at Better Future Media for more good news like this.
There is no easy way to say it, what I have to say. People got raped in the Revolution Photo. Those monstrous soldiers, they raped their participants. It was not one, not two, not three. It's many cases of sex.
Those monsters took pleasure in beating me, in sexually assaulting me. Get me a meeting with Anthony Albanese and I will tell him the shame of Israel. After being released from Israeli prison, I am now in Istanbul. I'm filled with a deep well of sadness because we have left many brothers and sisters behind. Those monsters took pleasure in beating me, in sexually assaulting me and my friends. They did this even with the privilege of all of our passports. They do much worse to Palestinian prisoners. Nearly 10,000 Palestinian prisoners, hundreds of which are children as young as 2, are suffering at the hands of these monsters who take pleasure in dishing out suffering. They removed our clothes, endured us with cold weather and water cannons, and forced us to kneel on the ground with the head on the floor and said, if you lift your head, we will shoot you. When you care for what they have done to us, know that they do much worse to our brothers and sisters in Palestine. We want you to advocate for them. This is why we put our bodies in this situation, because we wanted to show the world their monstrous cruelty. Get me a meeting with Anthony Albanese and I will tell him the shame of Israel. The shame that they would remove my friends' hijabs. What I want you to do is block the weapons factories. Cut Israel's supply of anything that could harm these people. And boycott anything that is giving money to Israel. We need to cut all resources. Year after year after year, we have watched a genocide live streamed on our phones. And now Penny Wong managed to pick up a phone and tell Israel that they shouldn't torture their citizens. What about the Palestinian people? I'll be home soon. And I survived that because I knew that I would be home soon. And I want you to think about those who have lost their homes in this genocide. Free Palestine.
We came to ourselves. And we saw how pleasure he had in his eyes torturing people. This is a sick society. I've never seen a society as sick as what I've seen there. You have no idea. You have no idea. These people, they have pleasure at torturing women, raping, killing. That's what they do. That's what they do. And what? We protect them with our tax dollars. Shame. We protect them with our tax dollars. Shame. It's not about the process, guys. We need to expose this. All of us are complicit. Our tax dollars is used to kill and rape and humiliate people. That's what's happening there. Our tax dollars. We are complicit, unfortunately. in the prison, the U.S. consulate came. They were walking free, as if they owned the place, as if they owned it's the concentration camp. You have no idea. And at the end, they say, oh, we can do nothing to you guys. It's obviously they control everything. Everything is done is by the approval of the U.S.
Shame.
Basically, we were tortured. We have been kidnapped in international water, taken into a prison boat, beaten, also with electricity. And of course, it's nothing compared to what Palestinians experience every day.
In one of the prison boats, 35 people suffered fractures to their ribs. People said there was at least 12 sexual assaults that took place. People were tased, so I can't feel my hands anymore. I was kicked in the ribs multiple times. Where Palestinians were held over 10,000. If they can do this to us, what can they do to Palestinians? Truly.
From when we were intercepted, we were met with such levels of violence. We were violated in all different manner of ways, and the fact that Israel would do that to us, with the world on us, I can only imagine what they do to Palestinian prisoners every single day. The imperialist fear is ordinary people taking it upon themselves to take some action, organising.
We have to say this barbaric, cruel regime must be disbanded. The United States and Germany are funding it 100% with the backing of England, France and all the Western governments. First, we must change the world and make it safe and kind. And staying in a country that is not theirs. It is not yours. You must give some of it back and share with the Palestinians. You have no right to do what you do.
להיות מוצאים להורג, בתלייה, בזריקה, בכיסא חשמלי, העיקר להוציא אותם להורג.
The betrayal that I felt from my own government goes beyond every single level. Look, the Israelis and the occupation force have absolutely no conscience. They have absolutely no standards for anything. They think that they can get away with the worst of the worst and the whole world stays silent. Every government is complicit. I went there and I saw items from in our prisons from UK. I saw handcuffs made in England. I saw the buses that are used for transport from the UK. The betrayal that I felt from my own government goes beyond every single level. They think they can get away with everything. Everything. God is watching, and God knows that when justice comes, even these Zionists will never ever be able to hide. I'm going to be honest, forget what happened to us. The fact that we were able to come out of Palestine today, whilst our Palestinian prisoners continue to suffer every single day for the past 78 years, is beyond any sort of speculation. And it is now the time for every single person to stand up against the incredibly ludicrous and disgusting oppression. Let's not start on him, because he is the very facilitator of everything that's going on right now. And that pig, he deserves to understand one thing very clearly, that when the people rise, the people unite, he will fall alongside the entire Zionist system.
Now, it says the beautiful purple flowers blossom amid the chaos. Change is possible. Don't give up. Don't give in. You have true power, and you need to use your voice so others can hear the message and join you in this transition. The heat is up high, but you can rise to the challenge. Keywords: disruption, evolution, start new, dismantle, transformation. Okay? Now, what I wanted to talk about, the little bit that I didn't talk about the other side, it was the protest that I went and I posted, I put it live, I went live on TikTok, I went live on YouTube. I was like, that was all guided by spirit. I was not going to this place. It was like, I felt like this pull to go there. And it was just like, we are the revolution! We are the revolution! I showed up, you just feel it, the energy. It was just amazing. Like, how, and the Spirit said, use this energy to send it to the Palestinian prisoners, to the Palestinian in Gaza, to the people who are suffering right now. Send them the energy of trust, strength. Send your prayers, and you're doing good. You have everything taken care of. Your bills are paid and all that. And even if I'm going through some financial stuff, like, it doesn't matter. And then other people I know that were dealing with similar situations, and we were just there in solidarity with the Palestinians from here, from Montreal, Quebec, you know. And Spirit kept saying, just go live, because their plan will backfire. So basically, the whole plan, it was kind of like to make the pro-Palestinians look like they were like the aggressors and stuff like that. But then again, Israeli motherfucking creatures, demonic, they are the one who disrupt the whole plan, which was just funny to just watch and like record and stuff. So the whole time I went live, it was also not because a lot of people think, oh, it was just to show that you go to protest. No, it was actually out of protection. Spirit kept saying that there was people there trying to target specific us to try to change the narrative so that we look like that we're like the enemy or just like, whatever the fuck. It didn't happen. It was such a beautiful protest, and I know that it didn't disrupt what we wanted to create, but just the loud noises and walking and seeing other people, and then seeing other people joining us and stuff like that, and being part of it, you know, it was actually really beautiful. And then also seeing the cops that they are trying to stop and block the Israeli motherfucking creatures who
honestly the best medicine to do this is to ignore them. Like, you hear them like super loud screaming, and like the police is like really around them. Like these Zara demons. Anyways, we're here to protect.
78 years of occupation, 78 years of force, strong enough to keep its entity from falling.
They're barking loud, but nobody's hearing them. Free Palestine! I love it. It's our people. This is humanity. They're real humanity.
We're trying to attack us, like literally the whole time that we were like separating from them. And this is what I was surprised, and I'm not endorsing, fuck the police, but they were literally trying to hold these motherfucking creatures, because honestly, their eyes even look black, like they look fucking demonic, like, we wish that they would rape you, go to Palestine, we wish Israel will rape you, and all this, like, yeah, this is, yeah, yes. Shame on you that, yeah, these are people who are supporting genocide in front of all of us, and that's why I was like, yo, your life must be so embarrassing and so sad that you come and waste your energy and time to support genocidal, pedophile, rapist people who are killing, ethnic cleansing. And these are the people in protest who have their bills paid, who own or rent. Yeah, these people are landlords too, some of them, okay? These are people who already have everything. They're privileged as fuck. Here they get pretty much all the benefits. These are people who don't have to go through immigration situation like most people here go through so much shit through immigration. These people just come in and that's it. The white supremacy energy is heavy on this country, heavy. And we all experience and witness it in different levels and different forms. And we have a lot to say. So that's what I'm saying. It's good and it's revolutionary to speak your truth, to tell this, okay? Because it is true. And a lot of you is gonna resonate because you know in your country or somewhere else, you know someone or a neighbor or someone that have experienced something that I am talking about. We have a lot in common. We're not that separated, okay? Especially if we are surviving the same situation, the same system together, okay? Now, for a lot of you in the protest, that's what also I noticed that once it was almost done, you could see that the other energy who was protesting or whatever, we were all like peaceful, saying what we gotta say, doing our walks. We walked like the whole downtown and it was creating some, you know, but I know a lot of us is not enough, right? Like the protest doesn't feel enough. And I know for that day I needed, like I was going through some depression shit. And I was like, and Spirit just guided me there, like be with the people that care and just there and be their protector, be their shield. And I literally did. I had to be there and I felt the energy. There was a couple people the Spirit wanted me to be their shield and practice my gifts that I'm able to do with other people while I'm close distance with them. So that was also a mastery practice where not only with them, we were, you know, chanting and dancing and protesting that energy. And I hope my Palestinian people felt it that day because, and you can see it in the video. I hope you know, it gives you some type of hope that we're trying here, and yes, we need to continue disrupting, need to continue this. It has to be, you know, a lot of you does not have to be all violence. They were trying it to be, like the whole time at the end when we were done, it felt that energy where there were so many cops everywhere. I've never seen that many cops in my life. I was just like, what the fuck is this? And I thought it was for us, and I knew, I was like, okay, it has to be for us because we're pro-Palestine and we're, you know. No, a couple blocks down, you see them trying to block demonic Israeli people trying to attack us, trying to come and run and trying to get to us, or trying to, you know, be aggressive and violence, because these people, all they know is violence. All they care about is violence, and that too, they are the violent. But that day, I felt like the whole energy was like, oh, it was to disrupt. The cops wanted to attack us, but it didn't work because the Israel motherfuckers were already like they were trying to stop us from coming to us, that's what I was like, okay, are they doing this as a performance because they're being on camera, or is this generally really happening? I will never know. Me, I remember that I packed all my stuff as soon as it was done, and we were done, we all say bye. Everyone walk into their righteous places, having, you know, singing, and most of the time I went and stopped and had lunch and stuff, and I stayed a little extra, and I could see what was going on. The cops are still there. They just have to be gone. They disappear and trying to hold on to the violent people who are Jewish white supremacists, who are constantly just very bold in here in Montreal and downtown and stuff like that. And during that time, they wanted to get their narrative or whatever the fuck. It didn't work. Most people just felt repulsed. Most people just wanted to walk away and be like, oh, I need to cleanse myself and block this energy. Disgusting. Especially these people wishing that Israel IOF raped us. That's when I was like, oh my goodness.
It's come to my attention that some people don't know that Sam Altman, the founder of ChatGPT, molested his little sister. Sam Altman's sister, Annie Altman, filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of sexually abusing and raping her over a decade, starting in 1997, when she was 3 years old and he was 12 years old. This went on until she was about 12, 13 years old, and he was, in his early 20s? Reading this for directly, the actual lawsuit. Beginning about 1997, defendant Sam Altman forced plaintiff to touch his penis and perform oral penetration on him. Sam Altman was about 12 years old at the time. From 97 to 99, the plaintiff was between the ages of 3 to 5. The foregoing conduct occurred several times per week. About 2000, Sam Altman began to penetrate the plaintiff, both with his penis in her and ass. During the last incident, she was a minor and he was an adult. We already have a plethora of reasons not to use AI, not to use ChatGPT. But if you just want one more reason not to use ChatGPT, know that every single time you put a prompt into that website, you are putting money into the pockets of a child molester, an incestual child molester. If he did not have enough empathy or care about a human being enough to literally touch his little sister, what makes you think that he will care enough about what his chatbots do to the rest of the world? Because he won't. Stop using it.
Hey. Nonviolence is a cop-out because the system is violent and is inherently violent. Apartheid in South Africa didn't end because white people were like, oh my gosh, that was really terrible. We should let Madiba out and we should give them rights. And maybe a little bit of land, but definitely not all of it. That's not how it went. Okay. Basically, there was, things got worse and worse and worse, if you can imagine, to the point where they were killing people. June 16th, 1976, Youth Day. Children walk out of school and say, we will not be taught in Afrikaans, we can't learn in Afrikaans, we're not Afrikaans. And then the police open fire on them and kill him. Hector Peterson picture to come. Sharpeville massacre, all the massacres. And then MK, which is the Mkhonto weSizwe, which is the armed resistance of the ANC, was like, yeah, we are gonna need some arms, because this isn't gonna work. And then things progressed very quickly in 20 years, like they hadn't in 50 years before, despite 70 years of work. I don't think you're inherently violent. I'm not inherently violent. I do practice nonviolence, but I'm not nonviolent. Okay? And I know this about myself because I spend a lot of time thinking about my thinking. I don't get alarmed when someone says that I can be violent because I know that about myself. I also know that I can be violent, so I make an effort to practice nonviolence. and I understand violence as a tool. In this vein, I would like you to think about your thinking. Ismata Gwendolyn is doing a series on metacognition right now. It's one of my favorite phrases since I was like 14, and I would love if you learned about it. It's thinking about your thinking. What we're finding right now is a lot of people thinking that they believe in equality and thinking they believe in equal rights and thinking that they're anti-racism, but they're actually, they don't like racists, but they're okay with racism because they haven't done the thinking about their thinking. You can hear it from any psychic or you can hear it from me, but everything's about to pick up. And you should pick up a pen. School's in session.
So their protest, their superiority, their thing is that they think that they are entitled to continue stealing and robbing the working class and duping people and propaganding people and lying to people constantly. Like, they feel entitled to do this. They enjoy it. There's a moment of joy for them, but it's short-lived because a lot of you have plenty of that by just learning how to survive with the minimalist thing, but you learn to appreciate the little things that you have, even if it's not much, right? But a lot of you, that is not right. It's not right that there's homelessness. It's not right that there's poverty. It's not right that these people are the supermarket prices of the workers of the supermarket, of the chain supermarket here in Canada, how getting, like, they're exposing, like, all the time, like, oh, billions of dollars and blah blah blah, but meanwhile people are suffering and starving and trying to buy food for their kids and their family, and they can't. Meanwhile, these people, like, the inequality and instability is just too much because capitalism does not benefit humanity. It does not. It kills it. It kills all human living things alive. That's the being woke that they don't want you to see. A lot of you, I'm also here to help all of you that there is this energy of feeling betrayed, especially those who are Canadians, feeling betrayed, especially Indigenous community and Inuit, and I feel their energy. A lot of you, we feel this betrayal is constant. This is why a lot of them, like, what hope? Hope is like us getting our land back, and like, why I see it, like, I see how they attack, and that's the energy, like, spirit's asking you. And the MERLIN energy, your records, your past, all of this has a specific code, manifestation code, where you can reverse the energy that they're trying to project. And you can do this spiritually and also physically. Spirit keeps saying resistance is divine, and do whatever means necessary for the oppressed, especially those who are aware of ICE detentions. There's stuff going on here in Canada too. There's something about data centers that should not be happening here. A lot of you know what's up. That's a no. But there's also that energy where they think they're invisible, they're nobody can touch them, or they're untouchable and stuff like that. Well, they're going through a rude awakening. See, drug addictions again. Only from the heart can you touch the sky. So there's something about your heart, keeping the heart, that energy of compassion, empathy, and kindness, and one wishing a better world, not only for yourself, but for the planet, for other people, okay? A lot of dark secrets. So a lot of you know a lot of dark secrets, and you know their dark secrets. They're not happy about that, okay? Oh well, then stop doing your little motherfucking file, because there's someone foul and miserable here, okay? Wicked as fuck. You do have someone who is doing shit in your energy, especially if they feel intimidated, if you're not going along the grain, or you're not going along with their fucking bullshit of following the status quo for money or something like that. Yeah. Spirit said balance those chakras or work on those chakras. So this is someone who has blocked chakras or something. So they're open to entities. So this is someone who is not protected spiritually in any possible way. So it's fair game. The ancestors and archangels are literally going after whoever has been messing with your work, okay? Especially manifestations for a lot of you. So a lot of you, you're manifesting free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, free the oppressed. So most of you, if you are in that energy, your oligarchs, or oligarchs, right, or billionaires, and fucked up motherfuckers, pedophiles, have a little cult of dark witches and warlocks where they attack you too, not just in the physical, not just in finances, not in the spiritual intensely. But once you have your balanced chakras, okay, you're doing the gifts and talents that you're meant to be doing. You know what that is, either speaking, journalists, photography, singing, whatever the fuck, you know what it is. Revolting, abolitionist, herbalist. Let go of the past. Forgive for yourself, not for the other one. And Spirit keeps saying like that energy, like, oh, you need to forgive your abusers and colonizers and pedophiles and war criminals. No, you don't. No, you don't. You do not. No. Once they're out of this system, you don't need to. No. It says, you know better now. Let go of the illusion. Yeah. We make mistakes, but how we grow from them is what matters. And that's what your enemies and our common enemy does not understand, doesn't know. Because they never be held accountable. They never have to do that. A lot of you vision board. You have a vision board. Work on a vision board. Is it feeling hopeful and positive? Actionable step, taking opportunities, gratitude, do a to-do list, focus, determination, dreams coming true. Okay.
Billionaires don't need more of your money. Here's how to give billionaires less of your money. Instead of giving money to Jeff Bezos and the Walton family, buy from local shops, independent bookstores, and from brands directly. Instead of giving money to Howard Schultz, find a cute local cafe. Instead of giving money to Larry Page, Sergey Brin, and Bill Gates, use free and open source tech like Linux, Proton Mail, and Akosha. Instead of giving your money to the Murdoch family, Larry and David Ellison, and Jeff Bezos again, support independent and local journalists and media. For example, I love Democracy Now! Instead of giving your money to the Koch brothers, who are heavy in the toilet paper game, use Bamboo or alternative brands. Instead of giving money to the 14 billionaires in the Cargill family, shop at farmers markets and local co-ops. Look into getting a CSA box, join a community garden, and learn to grow food. Instead of financing an oil or weapons billionaire by keeping your money at a big bank, use a credit union or a green bank. Instead of giving money to Brian Chesky, book directly with small and boutique hotels, hostels, and local B&Bs. Instead of giving money to Bernard Arnault, buy secondhand and from small and independent designers. But the best thing that we can do is buy less of what they're selling. Because it is true that there is a ceiling to what we can change with our individual consumption choices alone, but it is also true that billionaires are actively cultivating our dependency. This practice is not about perfection, it's not about purity, it's about investing our limited time and energy into building worlds that they are not a part of.
Majority of all studies are based off of men. No, you're not supposed to be sleeping for no fucking 8 hours. You're supposed to be sleeping
for 10. She said we're supposed to be sleeping for 10 hours. Cold plunges aren't good for us. Intermittent fasting isn't good for us. And I have a working theory as to why most of us don't know this information. Walk with me. I want to know your thoughts on this. I think the female body is actually biologically and spiritually superior. And if the majority of us knew that and truly believed it, the patriarchy would completely crumble. Remember in school when we were learning about the sperm and the egg and the process of procreation? Because I distinctly remember the framing of that conversation. The teachers always talked about it as if it was this epic race between the sperm. Biggest, fastest, strongest sperm would beat all the other sperm like fucking Usain Bolt and plant its flag on the egg, almost as if it was claiming victory. Then I went to university for kinesiology and I learned more about biology, physiology, anatomy. And I realized that that's actually not how the fuck it works. The egg has all the control. The egg carefully selects the most suitable sperm. I also found it very interesting that we were so focused on the race that we never really touched upon the size difference between an egg cell and a sperm cell. As you can see here, the egg cell is 20 times the size of a sperm cell. It's like the difference between a basketball and a grain of rice. Now, why is this important? You know how typically, sociologically speaking, we associate size with strength, power, and dominance? Bigger is better, we're the biggest, we're the best. You know, here's another example. Notice how Greenland looks like it's twice the size of Africa, despite the fact that Africa is 14 times the size of Greenland. Look at all the countries that can fit inside of Africa. This is what we consider to be the standard world map. Let me quote Plato real quick to bring this together. Those who tell the stories rule society. Whoever controls the narrative controls the power. Isn't it a little weird that the bodies capable of bringing literal life into the world are considered the weakest? A bit strange that within Catholicism and Christianity, we worship the body of Christ. We consume the body of Christ, yet the female body is the one that has a literal portal inside of it. They teach us this in history class. They've been saying the quiet part out loud. If you seek to control a group of people, you have to know them inside and out. You have to know what they're capable of in order for you to control it. And that's why I find it very hard to believe that they just don't do enough studies on women. They only do the studies on men because misogyny. I don't think so. I think it's way more insidious than that. Let's look at the definition of misogyny real quick. It's a system of beliefs that perceives women as inferior and seeks to reinforce male dominance. If, since the inception of the concept of gender, men genuinely truly believed women were physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually inferior, why would they go so far out of their way to create these complex, rigid systems to control women's bodies, to control their money, control their access to education, to prevent them from entering into STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, discourage them from entering into politics and holding actual positions of power that would influence the research that comes out about our bodies? I think they've studied women's bodies extensively. I think they're well aware of our power. Call this a conspiracy theory if you want. Yes, I understand this is a very binary conversation. If I'm going to make this under 3 minutes, I have no choice. Just chill. The more we talk openly about our bodies, the more we teach each other about our power and worth, the more terrified they get. So let's keep going.
I don't know how you guys missed this, but rich people are lying to you about communism. I thought this is common sense, but for a lot of you guys it's not. So I'm just going to make it super, super clear. Rich people own the newspapers. They own the TV stations. They own the social media platforms. Communism is good for average everyday people and bad for rich people. They like being rich. They don't want to stop being rich. So they are using all of the media that they own to convince you that communism is actually bad for you too. But it's not. They're lying to you, and they've been lying to you about it since 1917. And it's not a conspiracy theory. That is something very, very well documented throughout all of American history. There are government documents where the government admits that they are working with rich people in the United States to do exactly this. It's not made up. They admit it. They admit it. The interests of the US government and of the rich guys who own your media are aligned, and they work together. Everyone knows the government lies to them. This is one of the big things the government lies to you about. This is literally it. Why? Because communism is a threat to the US government and to rich people. Everything you think you know about communism, not even if you live in the United States, if you have access to Western media at all, is a lie told to you by rich people because they would like to keep being rich, and communism would compromise their ability to do that. I can't tell you how many times I have people on my page who are like, well, my family lived in communism in this place and everybody in this place hates it. And then I look it up and the majority of people there say communism was better than capitalism. It's almost every single time. When you look it up, the people actually preferred communism over capitalism. All the horrible things you hear that communists did to people, when you look into those, it falls apart pretty quickly. There's no actual evidence of it. There's no actual data of it. And it ends up being some kookball, rich guy, newspaper owning conspiracy. It's not that complicated. Communism, bad for rich people. So rich people lie to you and say that it's bad for everyone. But it's not. It's just bad for them. That's it. That's why they spend billions and billions and billions of dollars every year trying to stop it from spreading around the globe. That's it. That's it. Duh. This should be common sense. Duh.
Had to announce Tulsi Gabbard's departure from the Director of National Intelligence position today because this is the story they do not want you to see or hear. You can find it in publications like Reuters and the BBC, etc., Al Jazeera as well. Here are the facts you need to know. In December of 2023, Senators Britt, Shaheen, Gillibrand, and Fisher led this bipartisan Senate resolution that condemned Hamas's use of sexual violence, and Senator Katie Britt declared that the U.S., quote, will not stand for these atrocities anywhere. Remember, she said anywhere. In December 2023, that very same month, 28 senators drafted and signed and sent this letter to the United Nations explicitly asking for an independent investigation into sexual violence and condemning the United Nations for their lack of doing so on their own. Among the signers were the following. And I know it's redundant to read the names, but you have to hear them. James Risch, Robert P. Casey Jr., Rick Scott, Ron Wyden, Marsha Blackburn, Joe Manchin III, Katie Britt, John Fetterman, Lisa Murkowski, Richard Blumenthal, Deb Fisher, Cory Booker, now Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, Tammy Duckworth, Kristen Sinema, Shelley Moore Capito, Kevin Kramer, Maggie Hassan, Dan Sullivan, Tim Scott, Bill Cassidy, Bill Haggerty, Jerry Moran, Mike Crapo, Roger Wicker, James Lankford, Lindsey Graham, Chuck Grassley. A couple of months later, in February of 2024, the House of Representatives passed a bipartisan bill with 200 co-sponsors from both sides of the aisle that literally condemned rape and sexual violence committed by Hamas in its war against Israel. Knowing all of that, you also need to know that between May 19th and May 20th, 2026, just this week, Israel intercepted a flotilla of about 430 activists from over 46 countries who were bringing aid to Gaza. I wrote an open letter to all of Washington, D.C., but most specifically those who are still in office that signed those bills, that signed that letter, because not a one of them has spoken on what is going on with the way that Israel has treated those who are captured, essentially, from that flotilla. And I want you to listen to the facts as I outline in my open letter. This is what I said. So this open letter, again, is to Washington. I said, let's start with what happened since you seem uninterested in discussing it. On May 19th to 20th, 2026, Israeli naval forces intercepted the global Sumud flotilla. I'm so sorry if I'm not saying that right. A convoy of approximately 50 civilian vessels carrying international aid volunteers in international waters, roughly 167 miles from the Gaza coastline. Some 430 activists from over 46 countries were detained and transported to Ashdod port in Israel. What followed, according to documented testimony collected by a team of lawyers from Ad-Allah, the Palestinian legal aid organization that visited detainees directly, was this. This is what is happening, and this is what our entire federal government, none of them, have spoken on. I looked everywhere. Democrats, Republicans, independents, House of Representatives, Senate, higher level in the executive. Nope, nothing. Here is what was reported as the facts, what was seen by this legal aid group. Activists were violently attacked both aboard the vessels and during transfer to port. Detainees were forced into prolonged stress positions bent completely forward while guards held their backs down. Rubber bullets were fired at close range and tasers were used widely and repeatedly. Dozens of detainees are suspected of having suffered fractured ribs with documented breathing difficulties. At least 3 individuals were hospitalized. Detainees were subjected to sexual harassment, humiliation, and abuse. And at least 15 activists have been reported being sexually assaulted, including being raped. These are men and women. If you want to know more about what I wrote in this open letter, please go over to totalhypocrisy.substack.com. You can also find the link in my link tree. This is free to read. You can also listen to it. I really think it needs to be shared far and wide because now we are competing with the messaging around Tulsi Gabbard resigning as DNI. And we need to be focused on these atrocities, especially when so many people were willing to put their signatures on pieces of legislation and letters talking about how sexual violence, torture, etc. is unacceptable and something has to be done about it. And not one mouth on Capitol Hill has opened and said anything about it.
In case you missed it, Alberta Premier and noted tar sands enthusiast Danielle Smith made an announcement last Friday about her now finalized Memorandum of Understanding with Prime Minister Mark Carney. She can be a little hard to understand, so we're here to help you make sense of what she said.
And I'm happy to share with Albertans that we'll be signing an agreement today that clearly sets out a pathway to the construction of a new oil pipeline to Asian markets, commencing as early as September 1st, 2027.
Me and my oil patch investor friends have won, and we won't let any pesky obstacles like whale habitats, Indigenous rights, or the future of your children get in our way.
Our governments have agreed to make targeted changes to our respective environmental policies that will lead to tangible outcomes that reduce regulatory uncertainty.
That's right. We're gutting regulations and letting risky mega projects bypass the protections designed to keep communities and ecosystems safe.
Today's implementation agreement also results in Alberta avoiding a significant increase to the federally mandated industrial carbon price, saving Alberta's industry partners approximately $250 billion.
We've undermined the industrial carbon price so much that it will no longer serve its stated function of reducing emissions. And we're letting big oil billionaires walk away with $250 billion that could otherwise have funded your schools and hospitals.
We've removed barriers that were holding back investment, like the clean electricity regulations and the proposed oil and gas emissions cap.
Our pals in the oil lobby asked us to scrap these silly policies designed to ensure a livable future for your kids because they wanted to profit even more than they already do. And we said, sounds great.
Both governments also remain committed to working together with the Oil Sands Alliance, formerly Pathways companies, to advance the completion of the world's largest carbon capture, utilization, and storage infrastructure project.
We commit to pouring taxpayer dollars into an expensive and unproven technology designed to distract the public while our corporate buddies keep on fueling the climate emergency.
And I do want to sincerely thank the Prime Minister and his officials for approaching these negotiations in a genuine spirit of collaboration and in pursuit of a stronger, more secure, and an independent future for Canada.
Instead of creating jobs, lowering bills, and making our country resilient by transitioning to a renewable energy future, we're taking a note from Trump's drill baby drill agenda to sell Canadians out to oil execs and Wall Street investors. Want the government to sign a deal that actually serves the people instead of just filling corporate pockets? Join us in calling for a People's MOU. Comment and we'll send you a link to take action.
So many people who are afraid that AI is going to take their job. I think that there's going to be a labor shortage. If you want to help the group of people who are struggling, you have to figure out real root causes and solutions, and that takes skill. The way if we have a problem at Amazon, the way we would fix it is we would go in and we'd do the 5 whys and we'd try to get to a root cause. We'd try to find a root fix. And then when we fix it at the root, you're fixing it forever. It's a real solution. And what we don't do, because it doesn't work, is just point fingers and blame people. It might feel good for 10 seconds, but doesn't accomplish anything. A nurse in Queens who makes $75,000 a year pays more than $12,000 a year in taxes. Does that really make sense? So people talk about making the tax system more progressive. How about we start by having the nurse in Queens not pay taxes? People sometimes say that I don't pay taxes. That's not true. I pay billions of dollars in taxes. And it's a perfect, again, if people want me to pay more billions, then let's have that debate. But don't pretend, that's going to solve the problem. You could double the taxes I pay, and it's not going to help that teacher in Queens. I promise you.
I have an update, and unfortunately, it's not a good one. If you haven't seen me talk about Carlos Mendoza yet, he was shot more than 7 times by ICE last month in Northern California and has since been put through the worst torture you could imagine. He's currently being held at California City Detention Center, and unfortunately, I know he is not the only person going through this, but I'm hoping speaking up about the way they treat him can help raise awareness about how they treat all of their detained people. Yesterday, I posted an update telling you that our pressure was working. They started feeding him, giving him his medication, and even took him to the hospital to get x-rays. Those x-rays showed that he still had at least 3 bullets inside of his body a month and a half after he got shot, and they're keeping him from laying down because they're so swollen and painful. Well, 2 nights ago, Carlos called his fiancée and told her that a nurse told him he was going to be moved out of the medical section at the detention center. When his sister-in-law was finally able to get a hold of the supervisor, she said nothing in their system says he was going to be moved and that he would be in the medical section until further notice. After that, a doctor at the facility came to him and told him he was good to go. He would be taken out of medical that night. Just a couple hours later, they took him to somewhere called the Hole. Now, if there are bugs in the food and hardly any medical treatment in the medical section of the facility, you can only imagine what the conditions of the Hole are. They took away his tablet so he couldn't video call anymore, saying his charges were too bad and he didn't deserve one, even though his charges were released 2 weeks ago and he's had a tablet since then. They did give him limited access to a phone outside his cell that has horrible service and drops calls constantly, but they refused to give him a chair, and the phone is placed so low that he has to get down on his knees to use it. They really find pleasure in torturing him. Once again, he has not been receiving his pain medication, and I haven't gotten an update about food, but I can't imagine that that's much better. Also, the family has been able to get a hold of the facility at least 2 times since that night, and they are literally denying that he has been moved. 2 to their faces. They're telling the family that he's still in medical and that's not going to change. Some random article I found online said they put people in the hole for punishment or protection for 24 hours at a time, but Carlos is going on 48 and he needs care. Sometimes it feels like they pull this shit for fun. Communication is horrible. His lawyer can't even get a hold of him. The family has been left in the dark and they still have yet to be given a reason as to why he was taken there in the first place. Once again, because we know it works, like, comment, share, repost, anything you can do. Petition and GoFundMe are linked in my bio. We're in it for the long haul. Love you.
The violations that the Israeli regime has committed against the activists of the humanitarian mission of the Global Sumud Flotilla are completely unacceptable. The problem is that despite the horrible things that they did, that they will need to be made accountable, it's just a small fraction of what they do to Palestinians. There are more than 9,000 Palestinians in Israeli dungeons. Almost 400 of them are children, and they also are being victims of horrible assaults, of sexual violence, of all types of physical and psychological torture, and this needs to stop. The world got shocked with a small video of the sadist and baby killer Itamar Ben-Gvir, the Ministry of Interior, of this colonizing and genocidal country, but it's a small fraction of what they do every day. What they did when they were not on the cameras was much worse to all of our activists, and what they did 3 weeks ago with a lot of us as well, it was much worse than what they show on the cameras. We need to make sure that a country cannot believe that they are above international law. We need to make sure that these rulers, like this prime minister that has an arrest warrant on him, that is a fugitive from international justice and international humanitarian law, pay for his crimes and stop the genocide against the Palestinian people. We cannot wait for them, wait or have a desire for them to have conscience. The world needs to stop Israel. It's our task right now. The 7 months of a so-called genocide does not stop the killing, does not stop the hindering of humanitarian aid to get to starving children, did not stop the land theft. They control more than 60% of Gaza now, and they want that land to be ruled by war criminals like Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, by big techs that use drones and artificial intelligence to create techno-authoritarian regimes that we only saw before in dystopic movies. And they want that region to be ruled by the industrial military complex that profits from war, that every bomb that falls into every Palestinian children's head or home gives money for them at the end of the trimester. We cannot accept a world like this. It's our duty to mobilize and to stop this atrocity and to stop this regime.
It's 2 a.m. and I just learned that the Trump regime wants to subpoena me and a bunch of activists, commentators, influencers, streamers, journalists who went to Cuba in March bringing like humanitarian aid, like medicine and solar panels to help the Cuban people during this illegal blockade that the United States is crushing their country with, and like creating rolling blackouts, fuel shortages, food scarcity, blocking medicine. I myself brought like a bunch of Tylenol. There's a video. I think there's also a playlist that says like Viva Cuba on my TikTok profile. You can watch like all the videos with that, like of my time in Cuba. And yeah, we were just supporting the Cuban people because they're suffering under this imperial aggression by the United States. And now it seems like I read this Fox News article and today, and it basically said that the Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control is investigating and subpoenaing Hassan Piker and Medea Benjamin, who I went to Cuba with as part of a Code Pink organized trip. And like, there's a list of 40 other activists part of that trip who are going to be like caught in a dragnet, says Fox News. Like, they're going to go after probably the most prominent people on this trip, and I think that includes me. I mean, I was on the trip, I posted a bunch of videos, and I was told to expect a subpoena. So, you know, this is just kind of my late night update. I really don't have the energy to get all my stuff out, turn the lights on, do all that, but it's kind of where I'm at, guys. This is a crazy precedent that the Trump regime's trying to set. They're trying to scare Americans into ignoring what's right in front of their eyes, which is like we're literally starving an island of 11 million people to death. Trump was asked like recently by a reporter if he intended to crush Cuba, and he's like, crush them's a little strong, but yeah, they're not gonna last. I think they should make a deal with the United States. That's what this whole thing is, guys. Before Cuba had the revolution, there was a dictator named Batista. He was getting funding and weapons delivered to him by the United States, and he let, mobs and casinos and U.S. corporations, specifically like the United Fruit Company, to basically own all of Cuba, all the land, all the assets, and loot the country, while Cuban people were like not educated at all. They had horrible conditions, and that was a great time for the United States. And when the revolution happened and they took the land out of the hands of the corporations, the U.S. corporations, well, unfortunately, they lost all the profits. But the Cuban people got like homes and education and stuff, and then we blockaded them. And so basically, Trump's on his spree of spreading the American empire across the Middle East, across Latin America, including capturing the president of Venezuela and then forcing them to stop sending oil to Cuba, and doing the same thing to Mexico by threatening tariffs on them. We've isolated Cuba, and Trump wants to go back to that time and force Cuba to make a deal by making life there impossible, by causing all this suffering for Cuban people that I saw with my own eyes when I was in Cuba, guys. I saw hospitals go without electricity. I heard from doctors who told us, like when the electricity goes off, we run downstairs as fast as possible because we only have a few minutes to start hand pumping these babies in NICUs so they don't die under this blackout. Like, this is caused by the United States, guys, and it's brutal and it's just unjust, and we can't support this. And I don't know. I mean, this has been set up through NSPM 7 under Donald Trump, beginning last year. It's a national security directive that basically makes being a dissident or critic of the regime able to be punished by the feds, essentially, without any crime being committed. It's like a pre-crime directive, and now Trump set up this so-called Joint Mission Center to have the FBI and a bunch of other agencies essentially team up to stop activists before they do anything. So it's pretty crazy. You can read Ken Klippenstein on Substack or anywhere he's on. He's a journalist, investigative reporter. He's done a lot of documentation on NSPM 7. So it seems like that's what this is leading up to. Well, if you guys don't want to lose me, make sure you get me the link in my bio and subscribe to me on Substack. You'll receive my messages directly. No one can censor or ban me or make you unfollow me. I hear that a lot in my comments. And you guys know this. I'm independent. I'm supported by only you guys. And so if you want to support my work, you can subscribe to me on Substack, and that will support me a lot. That's where I get a lot of my support. So thank you guys. Viva Cuba. No to the blockade, and have a good night.
The world talks about saving the planet, but they're ignoring completely the place is keeping it alive. The Congo Basin is the second largest rainforest in Earth. It absorbs massive amount of carbon, helps to regulate the climate of the entire planet. It stores around 30 billions of tons of carbon on its soil. If this ecosystem collapses, it doesn't just affect the Congo, it affects all of us. It's home of the biggest gorilla in the world, elephants from the forest, and bonobos. And those species doesn't exist anywhere else on the earth. And millions of people depend on this forest to survive. And yet the same region is being destroyed. Deforestation, mining, illegal mining, and of course, conflict. Not by accident, because of global demand of resources. The same world is talking about climate change is benefiting from what is happening in Congo. You cannot talk about saving the planet and ignore completely the place is giving us oxygen to breathe.
I hope seeing all this footage today of the way Israelis are behaving across the stolen land that is Palestine gives you the boldness to relentlessly and maybe even aggressively check people who keep trying to spout this cliche bullshit. It's not the Israeli people, it's their government. When I was 12, our civic studies teacher put on the little rolly cart with the TV, a VHS tape from Discovery Channel or some shit, and we watched for the entire length of class while he did fuck all at the desk, this documentary on the quote-unquote Israel-Palestine conflict. I'm a 12-year-old black girl from the United States with 2 black parents looking at all of these white people say, we're from this land after World War II, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, they're lying, because that's what the white people here say. Got it. Free Palestine. I don't know the full length of what's going on. This was my first exposure, but nah, Israelis are fucking lying. I don't know what this is. Now, at 12 years old, again, as a little black girl in the South, I could fucking understand that because I know my people's history with the European here. I knew a good deal of indigenous people's history, not even necessarily their lived reality, because the way I was taught, it was like all the indigenous people were gone and murdered, a thing of the past. But I knew enough to know what a European does is what a European does, which is fucking lie and steal land. I also knew and heard the shit white people around me said all the time. I'd never spoken to a fucking politician, but I understand that it takes a community's broad level thinking, thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes to uphold structures. Even if I couldn't articulate that yet, I understood that at 12 because by 7, by 6, black kids have to understand their position in a racist ass anti-black dynamic. Defense for Israelis because y'all are afraid to be called anti-Semitic is one of the most cowardice things I've ever witnessed throughout my life. I think it is so deplorable and disgusting because years later when I was in college, I remember doing my studies for Arabic language and culture and seeing an Al Jazeera article photographed of Israelis bringing couches up on a hill to watch rockets fall on people. As a black girl from the United States, what did this look like to me? These crackers doing their lynchings, their fucking lynching postcards. I know these people. So today we hear it all the time. Oh, Donald Trump, I can't wait till that orange motherfucker dies. I can't wait till he just has a heart attack. Blah, 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 blah. The same coward fucks need a scapegoat. And they never take responsibility. They always show their true colors. On the day remembering the Nakba, they're dancing in the street, chanting about drinking the blood of Arabs. In 2020, when we were saying defund and abolish the police, we were getting ridiculed by the very same, well, I voted for Obama, but that's a little much. Who's going to protect you if the cops are defunded? It is more than appropriate to admit that the Israeli society is an entire lynch mob. And if you don't want to do it for Palestinians, let's just look at how many of their own children they rape and groom into sadistic, sociopathic, disgusting motherfuckers that then go out and rape other people. That should be a sign that the society is not fucking okay and needs to be abolished.
Porque la muerte es el capitalismo que llega disfrazado de progreso, disfrazado de trabajo, que es lo que nos han dicho, que si viene una empresa vamos a tener mucho trabajo y los pueblos sabemos que no es así. Los pueblos sabemos que ese trabajo va a ser por poco tiempo y al final de cuentas tu parcela donde sembrabas ya no vas a poder sembrar. ¿Por qué? Porque ya va a haber un hotel ahí, porque ya va a haber un Starbucks, porque ya va a haber un centro comercial y eso es lo que ellos llaman progreso, es lo que ellos llaman trabajo hacia las comunidades y hacia los pueblos. Y hoy en día hemos entendido y sabemos que todo lo que nos dicen es mentira.
Imagine your government passing a law that's so invasive that the apps you use for privacy would rather shut down in your country than comply. That's exactly what's happening right here in Canada. Signal, NordVPN, and Windscribe, a Canadian VPN company headquartered in Canada, have all said they're preparing to leave the country, and it all comes down to a single bill that the Liberal government is trying to push through Parliament. It's called Bill C-22, the Lawful Access Bill, and it forces companies operating in Canada to build the technical ability for law enforcement and intelligence agencies to access your encrypted information when ordered. Signal says they'll cut off their access to Canadian users before complying with Bill C-22. NordVPN says they're ready to exit the Canadian market if Bill C-22 passes, and Windscribe, a Canadian VPN company, is ready to leave Canada for good if Bill C-22 becomes a reality. This shows just how bad this bill really is. Apple and Meta have both warned that building a backdoor into their encrypted systems would make them more vulnerable to attacks from hackers and hostile foreign governments. And in a rare move, members of US Congress sent a formal letter to Ottawa opposing Bill C-22. The country that pioneered mass surveillance is telling Canada to calm the down. We're living in a Black Mirror episode, folks. Buried in this bill is something that the government doesn't want Canadians to know about. The public safety minister can issue something called a ministerial order, which can force companies to build surveillance capabilities for the government. Now, when a company receives a ministerial order, they are legally prohibited from telling anyone that the order exists. Not the users, not the public, it's not even represented in court filings. It's essentially a gag order. Here's where things get strange. MPs themselves use apps like Signal. One Conservative MP pointed out this week that members of Parliament use the Signal app precisely because it's encrypted, and they trust it to keep their conversations private and secure. Now they're voting on a bill that would push Signal and other digital service providers out of Canada for good. You are witnessing the birth of a Canadian surveillance state. If you don't want to be out of the loop on what's going on in Canada, drop a follow for more content like this.
Hey everybody, if there's anyone in your life who still needs proof that Donald Trump is looting our government, there's something I'd like you to show them. This is called Form 278T, also known as a periodic transaction report. Government officials, including the president, are legally required to complete this form every time they buy or sell a stock or bond worth more than $1,000. The goal is to prevent conflicts of interest between their official duties and their personal financial interests. In May, Trump filed a Form 278T for the first quarter of 2026. It is 113 pages long, and it lists more than 3,600 stock trades between January and March. Trump bought and sold hundreds of millions of dollars in stocks, including big tech, defense contractors, media companies, crypto, and more. What's notable about this is not just that Trump is really rich, it's that he is heavily invested in companies whose businesses are directly affected by policies he is making. He is actively trading in their stocks at the same time he is making decisions that influence the value of those stocks. For example, Trump invested in both Paramount and Warner Brothers while his Justice Department is reviewing their proposed merger. He invested in Oracle at the same time he brokered their deal to buy TikTok. He invested in Palantir as they were awarded major government contracts worth over $1 billion. Trump is also buying crypto stocks while he is pushing a bill called the Clarity Act, which would help crypto companies. One of Trump's biggest buys was millions of dollars in NVIDIA stock. NVIDIA makes advanced AI chips, which they have been trying to sell to China for years. The US government has restricted the sale to protect our national security, but NVIDIA's CEO lobbied Trump for months to change that policy, and in December, Trump agreed. Then Trump went a step further. This week, he took NVIDIA's CEO to China with him on Air Force One to sell their AI chips to the Chinese government. NVIDIA's stock price has now gone up 26% since January. Trump also took the CEO of Boeing to China with him after buying millions of dollars of Boeing stock. On the trip, they sold 200 Boeing airplanes to the Chinese government. It is impossible to look at this and not ask, is Trump actually acting in the interests of the American people, or is he placing his own financial interests first? Other presidents have chosen to sell off their stocks or place them in a blind trust to avoid conflicts of interest, but Trump has refused to do that. The definition of corruption is using official power for private gain. By that measure, Trump is hands down the most corrupt president in history. The Form 278T is a roadmap to the ways he is personally profiting from the powers of the presidency. Please spread the word. Thanks.
Know your worth. A lot of you, your energy is very healing because you have done the work. You are doing the work. Most of us either cannot be coming here if we're not doing the work. I cannot be talking about decolonization, what was going on, if I haven't survived and experienced what I need to experience so that I can come here. See? 9-9. I've been seeing 9-9 guys non-stop. Let me know if you've seen it. Put 9-9 on the comments and let me know. Check what time it is when you're seeing this reading as well. And if it's too long, save it. You'll have messages for later. It's time to let go of what no longer serves you. Serve us, the working class. You know what that is, right? Okay. I accept that it is over, but I can also embrace that it's getting started for me on a divine level. That could be someone's confirmation. Maybe you need to say that in the mirror. Maybe this is something that you need to, it said, accept that it is over. I accept that it is over. A chapter of yours or something, a past, an ideology that used to be racism, white supremacy, and all that shit. That needs to be decolonized, right? So that is the past. But also being aware and not forget the atrocities and violence and stuff like that it was caused not just to you. For a lot of you have privilege if you didn't go through a lot of struggles dealing with the system, but other people have. Other people were mistreated. They weren't treated like you because, again, we live in a system that, yes, it is focused on race. It is built on race. Racism. Capitalism needs racism to continue. It needs white supremacy. It needs colonization. It needs wars and stealing. And this is why we want to build a world that has no war, no genocide, no stealing, no homelessness, no poverty, free healthcare, free shelter, free education, right? And the shelter, well, I know that's gonna piss off a lot of people when I run on my Substack, but it is true. Spirit keeps saying, like, why do you guys shouldn't have a lot of landlords? They should not exist. Just like billionaires should not exist. Just like bombing companies, or using technology to kill people, using AI to kill people. Why do you, like, Spirit keeps saying all the time, and you know it, because if you're doing your meditation, doing your work, he's asking you the same question too, and you're trying to find ways and solutions. Welcome to the club. We all have ways of how to do this and how to defeat this. We already defeated in the spirit for some of us. We're just trying to bring it into the physical, but we're dealing with delays because these motherfuckers know what we're up to, but we also know what they're up to. And we are the blockers, the shielders, you know what I'm saying? The protectors. Support the resistance, spirits keep saying. Don't betray the resistance, especially the resistance of now, of the naturally evolved Black Panthers of the now. Just because they're not in your country doesn't mean that they're not Black Panthers of this era. They're just the more advanced because they have been dealing with this more than 60, 70, 80 years, more than 100 years. We're just arriving. We are the late bloomers. I know I'm a late bloomer. And hell no, I'm not let my community or my family or anybody to be late bloomers. No. You know better now. We break the cycle here. The cycle is broken here. Be breaking cycles nonstop. I'm coming back for you. I love you. Bueno, they better come correct and release. Okay, warning, don't dismiss the red flags. Be aware of this. I am expecting miracles. Bueno. Someone wants a miracle. Love you always. Bueno. I feel like this is someone who fucking judge you and trash all of you. Especially if you were not conscious, or you were unconscious of what was going on, and all of a sudden you shift, you change, you want better for not for yourself but everybody else. And this is someone who judged you while you're going through that process. This is someone who thought that you were crazy. Serious, yeah. For a lot of us, we have to deal with a lot of Zionist motherfuckers, right? Who now, for some of you, they're anti-Zionist, and now they want to show you through actions that they are better people, that they want to change, that yes, they went through all this thing, they went through all this karma. Every Zionist is going to go through intense karma. Everybody who is genocide supporter, it's intense, the karma too. So a lot of you are going to witness that. Or some of you, spirit won't allow you to. You will be away from those people, cult or anything like that. I expose a lot of what's going on in my Telegram, okay? So I accept that it is over, but I can also embrace that it's getting started for me on a divine level. Ashe.
I just want to make something crystal clear, right? If you don't despise Zionists, unfollow me, yeah? If you don't want every single dirty, scruffy little squatter, yeah, that lives between the Jordan and Mediterranean Sea to fuck off back to Europe and America, unfollow me, yeah? Number 3, if you want Israel to exist in any way, shape or form, unfollow me, okay? I don't have fucking time. I don't do two-staters, yeah? I don't do liberal Zios, and I certainly don't do people who want the Kumbaya version of Palestinian liberation, okay? So if that's you, unfollow me. I'm done.